Wow, we're in progress. Okay.
Okay.
So the purpose of this meeting today is to begin a discussion about how we're going to develop and manage individuals who donate to a $1 donation campaign, how that fund will be retained and how it will be distributed out, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, we don't have any guidelines. This is the beginning of how we set those up
Mm-hmm.
and to make sure that should any member, only those who donate, should I say,
Mm-hmm.
should they question about what's going on with the money, how it's being handled. We want to be able to be responsible and let them understand what we're doing. And
Mm-hmm.
also publish as we make distribute funds out to a specific group or individual when that happens. So everybody will be informed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's the general outline. I think I want to try to develop our concept or policies to regulate the
Mm-hmm.
three member panel. Um, so we know that Mr. Sam has volunteered and Clarence has also volunteered. That is the
Mm-hmm.
key. But anybody coming in? Let me check.
Mm-hmm.
No, Kenneth still isn't there, or
Okay.
Clarence. So I thought they were
So
the.
I want to, so that I can kind of understand better, when I think in terms of something like this, I know that, at some point you were considering, some point in the future, maybe converting to an actual formal business structure.
That is
And
correct.
I think this is a really good start when you think about how to support those on the continent. So I was, I've got an organization, right? I started out here in Tanzania with an NGO.
Okay.
So we've been kind of doing now I do my business. We restructured so it's totally for profit, a for-profit business, but that had to do with the change in government structure, whether I could be a part of the organization
Okay.
or not. Like when you're an NGO here now, you cannot be a member of the organization unless you're an advisory member, whether you're the one who's running everything or not. So we didn't like that. So we changed what we were doing.
Okay.
Um, but I'm thinking in terms of if it's the three of us to have someone who would be the total project or program manager,
Okay.
uh, someone who handles receiving the funds and recording everything and distributing them,
Okay.
and then someone who handles the communication. So that's communicating with you, the donors, sending out emails or correspondence to the people who have been donating, and
Okay.
then the recipients of the donation. So I think that's one way to start structuring things.
Okay.
Um,
Um,
go ahead. I'm
Now you
sorry.
know why I'm so excited. Excited when you decide to participate with this because your experience as it is with developing these kind of structures certainly key to us developing this with the
Mm,
integrity that we need to have in place. So
mm,
thank you very much for getting involved here. So
you're welcome.
how do you see yourself in this whole business? And I would like you to be like the chairperson, if you don't mind, my personal
Okay.
preference.
Well, I see myself more as the project manager. I could
Okay.
take any role, but I think it would be better because I'm here. So I kind of understand things a little bit differently than somebody who's not here
Okay.
about how people behave in general.
Okay.
When receiving funds, how they use funds, and how they solicit funds. So I kind of know like what may be a viable or sustainable kind of thing for us to do, like especially if you don't know the people, and like how to choose. Kind of been there, done that since 2015. So and then just kind of setting some clear goals. when you do $1 donations, right? You know how folks give, right? You may only get $15 or you could get $800. Who knows,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
And
Okay.
depending on who what you decide to do the charitable donations toward, like if let's say we do quarterly we pick something different. So let's say maybe we pick something towards education for the first quarter. Second quarter, maybe healthcare. Third quarter, I don't know, just maybe food security, and maybe I don't know, fourth quarter something. I don't know, or we could split them into 3 quarters instead of 4 quarters, and try to look at things in that way. I know the value of the dollar from the U.S. dollar to here from country to country is different. But if I were thinking in terms of like here in Tanzania, the value of the USD to the Tanzania shilling is like 2,000 to 1. So let's say $10 is 20,000 T shillings. That could buy someone food, that could pay for rent, or that sort of thing. But when I look at what really helps people, it's one thing that people, when they really need money, they may take the money and spread it out in different ways. So where you thought the money was going, it doesn't really touch the community in that way, because the person who received it may need to put it somewhere else.
Right.
One way I would say is that, if there's someone within that country that we know, like, or that I'll say that that you trust, like if it's someone in Kenya, if it's someone that if they're working closely with the charity, or the whoever the funds are to be distributed to, then they can like see what's actually going on.
Okay.
Like if they go there, if you say you're going to buy uniforms for 10 kids, and someone sends you, like says thank you, and then you never see any pictures or anything, so then that money is gone. And so when you report back to the ones who donated the funds, then they're like, okay, I'm not going to donate anymore, right? So because so to be able to do those things, I think to start out with folks in countries that you already know, whether they're US citizens or not,
Okay.
that are already close, like we know Nairobi, we have some people there, right? You have some people in Ghana, you have,
Yeah.
Nigeria, all these different things. I think it would be much better to start so that we have some, that light was burning me up,
That's
so
all
that
right.
we actually, so that we, to come out from the beginning, that we have a little fire behind what we're doing, that it looks like, oh, okay, so they actually know what they're doing. Even though we only raised $100, it did something, and to have those pools of charities, and have a sort of I would say an application system. But we can't think in terms of application systems the same way that we would, to go through Google Documents or whatever. I think because just the access to technology is not the same. So I another way is to connect directly with the NGO in the area. So we can, if this person in this whatever village, they say they need help with, I don't know, even if it was education, I wouldn't send it directly to like any teacher or anything. I would find out the bank account, because the way that you pay school fees, usually you pay to a bank account for the school, so
Okay.
that you get a receipt that says that this money was received, and you can talk directly with the head teacher. Okay, this money was this. We said that we were going to buy, this money was supposed to be used to buy textbooks or school supplies. Then they can show you those things, because then you have an actual receipt from the bank account of the with the school.
Yes. Everything you just said is wonderful. I will tell you, it may have been a year or so ago that we went out and collected funds for Somalians who were really suffering due to the
Mm-hmm.
drought, and then they had a flood that came through. And the person who we donated the money to, he in turn showed responsibility by taking pictures of the product that he purchased, the food
Mm-hmm.
and the water, and the people that were receiving that stuff. Two of my members jumped into the biblical uh, world and said, "Well, you know, you're not supposed to do this according to the Bible. You're not supposed to make a showy display of when you do something for someone, you broadcast it." But that's not what we're doing. We're trying to make sure that members understand that the money that they spent is being used according to what the request was. That was to
Right.
buy food and water.
Right.
But we did run into that. But what you're saying, and I really got rid of one of those members because they weren't donating at all. They were criticizing.
Right,
And
right.
so,
I was about to say, did they give you any money?
no, no.
Mm,
So they were, oh, up in arms about the person. They had one of their chief to go and try to investigate who the person was. And I said, I don't have time for all of this. So, but
yeah.
it serves as a reminder. People will come out of different behaviors, even when you're trying to do what's right. So,
Hmm.
but I don't have a problem with what somebody who complains about what we're doing, as long as somebody's benefiting from it, we're helping somebody in need. Uh, I want to structure ourselves to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use this $1 campaign because it's a very effective way to get people to not feel like they have to put so much money into any one thing. If they do
Hmm.
just $1 in and of itself, uh, and if we can multiply that by a number of numbers, we can get up in a couple $100 quickly.
Hmm.
Um, Most of the time, I learned, even when I did this before with Maya, um, people were reluctant to donate just $1. And even when we validated that there were serious issues and I don't know, maybe it's a black thing, us black folks, we don't see I, that we don't have the compassion to understand when we do have been given special favors to have money to give that we don't give. Instead,
Hmm.
we judge. So, but I can't go down that path of criticizing people. I have to kind of find a way to keep stimulating, motivating people, see beyond what
Well,
their doubts are.
I think you've been doing a great job because you've been communicating and you've gotten, this much where people are you can have a million folks, but only a handful of the ones who are really the ones that drive
Yeah,
the vision, right? So I wouldn't be so you know like having the wind let out of your sails because of what people have been saying, that sort of thing. What
yeah,
I think though, I think excuse me, I forgot, my kids distracted me for a second, so I lost my
no
train of
worries, no
thought.
worries.
We were talking about, oh yeah. So marketing. I was going to say something about marketing. It's the way that you market your stuff. Now, for me, I really don't have the time or the financial resources to put into a lot of like big marketing and trying to reach what I focus on is the people who have supported me in the past and who have been following me, and I hone in on those people and I do direct ask. So, I wouldn't be like even you've got a $1 campaign. If you said that $100 was what you were trying to raise, I would go to individually to about 10 people and ask, can you donate 25? So out of those 10 people, if you get four people to donate $25, you've got your $100 goal right there. I
Right.
wouldn't like go this, that is too much. And it gets on your nerves trying to do that, right?
Yeah,
So like, you go to folks who have the ability
correct.
and the want. to do
Yes,
something like that. And maybe that person that you go to gives you 100 right off the bat. So
that's
then you
correct.
set that aside. Okay, that is done. Now you're working on the next quarter. I need 250 for the next quarter. Can you do this? So those people who are on the list, you already got the 100. Now you're asking them because you haven't approached them yet. So
Right.
that's how, if I were, I would run it like that. I would just put the list of the people who have been consistent. Like you've got Sonia, you've got Kenneth, you've got me, you've got Cheryl, you've got goodness, Dr. I'm forgetting right now, but I'm forgetting names, but we've got a lot of people, right?
Yeah, yeah, we
Dr.
do.
Cheryl,
Yeah,
right? Peter Sherrill. Sorry, I'm
yeah,
trying to like remember last names. But we have enough people, I think, and to even put their stuff in the pool. Like,
yes,
of course, they're not going to, get anything now. But if there's something like, if he's in Ghana or wherever, and they know of something they can touch, like if it's like getting a small, like to buy pens and paper for some people who are coming to their school or something like that, that yeah, just trying to do things like that and being fully transparent. You cannot be transparent and not show photos. Like that's stupid. So whoever was saying something bad about that and had something against it, meaning that they're the ones who wouldn't want to show you pictures if you gave them some money.
right, right. You,
They
you
would
know,
hide the money.
the legitimacy on their behalf was that they were quoting the scripture from the Bible, and I said, I don't need to be beaten up scripturally. If this is what you're trying to do, then I cannot agree with your interpretation of the scripture. So
Yeah.
we had problems, but again, I got rid of that one person. I just don't need this kind of distraction. So
Yeah.
I'm on board with everything that you have said and that you're laying out. The question is legitimizing this whole concept. I haven't got there yet.
Okay.
How do you propose I can do a nonprofit over here in America, develop one, and get it organized? But when you say NGO, I'm really not having the savvy of understanding what an NGO represents, how it
Uh,
operates.
An NGO operates basically the same as a 501c3, except for it's non-government organization. So it's a not-for-profit business, but it doesn't have the support of like, government funding and that sort of thing. So those are usually in Africa.
Okay.
I don't know about other continents, but I know they're here because you don't have 501c3 unless somebody from the US comes over here and they have established something over there that they pull in funding to support things here. So you have different organizations that offer funds, kind of like our RFPs. So that's a request for a proposal. So they have money set aside every year that they do their philanthropy, and you have to just apply. And then they pick these NGOs because they're governing themselves like a 501c3. So in order to get those funds, they have to know how to do reporting and, you know, um, that sort of thing. So that's why I said NGO. If it's an NGO that is established, then it's easier to know, like, they've got a track record, they've got a vision and a mission for when you give the money is supposed to go somewhere than just someone who needs.
Okay.
Because what you'll find that you're doing, like, everybody needs some food, everybody needs school fees,
Yes.
everybody needs medical. So if you want the money to actually do something, you have to put it into a place that's going to receive that money and put it to work. And with an NGO, just like a 501c3, they're running as a business but not for profit, meaning they have management and organizational things going on. So when they receive that money, then we can also say that, basically you need to report, like there are some guidelines that we can give them for receiving the funds.
Okay. Okay.
So you can also just put them out as grants, micro grants, So let's say we're doing micro grants, $50. That's a small amount to us, but it's not to,
Somebody
like,
else.
right. So I think like even a US company that, goes over to, and I'm using Ghana because folks are always going over to Ghana, but but $50 in the hands of somebody who's going over there, maybe they've, bought a whole bunch of water. Like if it was Somalia, they bought a whole bunch of things when they come over. Um, and a lot of times when they come over, if you know someone who's already traveling here, when they go and they take pictures and they see, they can get more money coming in because they're talking directly for the people. This is what I see. We can do this, that sort of
Okay.
thing. I know we're not at that point, but I think like, for to start a 501c3, I'm hoping that I'm answering your question. Now back to that. The 501c3, because I'm about to go into that process myself. I've talked to many people. I think the best way to do it, first of all, you need a little money, right? The process can run, depending on what they got on their desk, anywhere from 6 months to a couple of years. If you don't have all of your ducks in a row, they can turn you down and you go back at the bottom of the list. It's best to use a 501c3, nonprofit attorney who knows like when before you submit it to make sure that you have everything together. And that could cost you about 1,500. So that's why I say just have, if you're going to do it, so that you're
You
not
mean
wasting
you mean to set up the organization structure itself would cost about $1,500?
$1,500 for the attorney to advise you. It will cost you about
Oh,
$800, $600 to $800 to actually do the process
I
with the
know
with the
some.
government.
I think I know some people that agree, so I'll see can I
Huh?
work on it. I do know some people. I have a good friend who is an attorney. He's a retired federal judge, and I'm sure I can lean on him. I hope
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
without having the
Just to make sure that
extraordinary
you're.
fees that you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
So I think I can navigate through that. I'll have to find out and see. So
Okay.
so if I set up exploring the continent of Africa as a nonprofit itself, then that gives me the ability to do what we're talking about.
Uh-huh.
That's correct.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Then you yourself could look for the larger grants to support your mission, like whatever it is that you're trying to do, and to be able to like um just make sure you put everything that you're trying to do into that one, thing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to send you a document that a gentleman wrote up for me to explore the continent of Africa, so you can do it and see where we go with that. So, you you got your kids that they need you?
No, just
No,
being
I,
go ahead.
I understand. I understand. Well, listen, I think we've so far covered a lot of grounds on how to proceed. Um, I got to get the other two people in because I feel like we'll have to go back and repeat everything over and over, which is not the thing we need to do. But I'll get with them and let them understand if you're going to be in this on this panel, you're going to have to be committed. Uh, that is the key of being on any kind of organization, especially when you have a leadership role, which is what you're going to have. So let me get with those two guys and have heart to heart talk with them to make sure that they're not just saying what they want to do, but they're actually participating. Are you still there? Your screen is frozen. Stacy, I think you might need to log out and log back in.